Hello, Benjamin here from English Classes Online, and today's lesson is on the basics of the IELTS test. Let's get started with a quick look at the agenda for today's class. We have 6 main items on our agenda. Number 1, what is IELTS? Number 2, who is eligible to take the IELTS test? Number 3, how does IELTS evaluate your English language skills? Number 4, types of IELTS in terms of agencies, tests, and modes. And number 5, IELTS structure and exam pattern. In this, we are going to look at the 4 modules: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And number 6, IELTS results and scores. Let's begin right away with the first item. What is IELTS? IELTS, or IELTS, stands for International English Testing System. It is a proficiency test for non-native speakers. Now, what is proficiency? It's simply how good you are in the use of English. And who are the non-native speakers? Non-native speakers are people from all countries where English is not spoken as the first language. You will find native speakers in countries like UK, US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. If you are from any other country apart from these countries I mentioned, then you must take the IELTS test to prove your proficiency in the use of English. Now, let's look at who is eligible to take the IELTS test. The eligible age, of course, is really 16 years and above, and by and large, IELTS is made available to all persons regardless of age, gender, race, nationality, or religion. But it is recommended that people from 16 years and above should take the IELTS. Now, in terms of academic or educational qualification, anyone who wishes to pursue higher studies abroad or who wants to work abroad can attempt the IELTS exam. There is no specific academic qualification. Anyone can take the test. And then why should anyone take it when younger? You know, some institutions or countries do require it. And of course, right from 2015, applicants between the ages of 14 and 64 are required to meet language requirements set out by the Citizenship Immigration Canada, known as CIC. Before 2015, it was always set at 18 and above. So you also find some cases in which some bilingual high schools, international schools, and high school foreign exchange programs require an IELTS score. So it is necessary for one to start preparing early enough, because a lot of people have taken the IELTS repeatedly and have failed to obtain their desired score. So if you have the opportunity to start preparing for the test early enough, that will give you added advantage. Now, how IELTS evaluates your English language skills. Now, the evaluation is always based on 4 language skills: speaking, writing, listening, and reading. And these 4 language skills are subclassified into 2: productive skills and receptive skills. As you can see in the infographic on the screen, the productive skills are speaking and writing, and the receptive skills are listening and reading. What does this mean? If you are speaking, you are producing language. If you are writing, you are producing language. But if you are listening or reading, you are not producing language, you are receiving. That's why it's called receptive, because you are receiving language from someone else. When someone is speaking and you are listening, you receive. When someone has written something and you are reading it, you receive language. But if you are the one speaking, you are producing. If you are the one writing, you are producing. All right. So, and IELTS uses different criteria for evaluating productive skills and receptive skills, respectively. Now, let's look at types of IELTS in terms of agencies. There are two agencies that are responsible for conducting the IELTS test. They are IDP and British Council. And you can book your test with any of them. In terms of the exam formats, the questions, they are the same. You know, there's no major difference between the British Council IELTS and the IDP IELTS. There is some misconception when some students book, when they register with the British Council and they take the test, and because they are not fully prepared for the test, they fail to obtain the desired score. They conclude that British Council IELTS is more difficult than the IDP IELTS. And then the same thing happens when some people register with IDP and they take the test and they don't obtain the required score. They naturally conclude that IDP IELTS is harder than the British Council IELTS, but that is not true. Both are the same. For example, if both agencies are conducting exams on the same day in different parts of the world, the exam questions are the same. All right, so there's no difference. It has to do with how prepared you are. That is why this training course is really very important. It's designed to get anyone who is preparing for this test adequately prepared so that you enter the exam feeling comfortable and confident because you know exactly what to do. That is how to obtain your dream score. So if you are serious about obtaining your dream scores, you need to sign up for this program. Now, types of IELTS tests. There are two main types of IELTS tests, the IELTS Academic and the IELTS General. Now, the IELTS Academic is for those who want to go and study, those who are looking for admission, who are applying for admission into colleges and universities in any of these countries, UK, US, Canada, and so on. Now, the IELTS General is for those who want to go and work. You want to go and live and work in UK or in Canada or any of those countries, you need to take the IELTS test. Now, I want to emphasize that if you want to go and study abroad, but you take the general IELTS test instead of the academic, the university you are applying to will not, and I repeat, will not accept the test because it is invalid, even if you score very high. All right. So make sure you take the appropriate test. If you are going to study, you need the academic test. If you are going to work or for immigration or for naturalization, that is to obtain citizenship of that country, you need the general IELTS test. Now, the infographic on the screen displays these same two main types of IELTS tests. Now let's look at types of IELTS in terms of mode of delivery. You can choose to take the IELTS on a computer or the paper test, both for the general training and the academic test. The test format, the questions, time allocated to each test, they are all the same content for both IELTS on computer and IELTS on paper. Now, the only difference is, you are writing, entering your answers into answer sheet booklets. The other one you are typing. So it's in terms of the kind of experience you get on the test day. Now, the structure, the IELTS structure is simply made up of 4 sections: the listening, the reading, the writing, and the speaking. Now, take note of the fact that listening and speaking are the same for both academic and general. But reading and writing have different, you have different set of questions for the academic and different set of questions for the general. Now, the IELTS pattern is the same with the structure, except that we want to look at it more closely. Listening will be done in 30 minutes. It has 4 sections, and there are 4 questions to answer. Then in writing, you have 60 minutes, 3 sections, 40 questions. In reading, you have 60 minutes and 2 tasks. Then in speaking, you have 11 to 14 minutes and 3 parts, and it is a face-to-face interview with an IELTS examiner. Now, let's look at the listening module. The listening module will be the first test. In the listening, you will listen to some audio recording and then you answer the questions. It is designed to test your listening skills. And of course, because the audio will always have the accent of a native speaker, you might experience some difficulty. However, English is spoken intelligibly from any part of the world. What I mean is that an American English speaker will be understood by a British English speaker, and a British English speaker will always be understood even by a Nigerian English speaker. There is this general intelligibility. So if you are proficient in the use of English, you won't have any problem. And all you need to do is to give more attention to practicing listening. You need to listen to be able to understand, how the native speakers pronounce words and how they talk in connected speech. These are the basic things you need to practice. But I can assure you that by the time you start practicing, it will become quite easy. Now, this has 4 sections, as I already mentioned. The first section is the easiest, and the last section is the most difficult, because these questions are designed to take you from the known to the unknown. So make sure you write the answers in the question booklet. That is the tradition, especially in the paper test. You need to answer the questions while listening to the audio. And while you are listening to the audio, you have the question paper right in front of you. So you are permitted to enter the answers directly in the question booklet. Thereafter, you are given 10 minutes extra to transfer your answers from the question booklet to the answer booklet. Now, but this is not the same thing in other modules. Now, reading is different for general and academic tests. Reading has 3 reading passages and 40 questions on both sides. So there are similarities. However, the questions differ. And in this particular reading module, you need to know that it is not the same with the listening. So as you read, you are expected to enter the questions directly in the answer booklet, because you are not going to be given any extra time to transfer your answers from the question booklet into the answer sheet. Now, the writing module is different for general and different for academic tests. Now, writing has 2 tasks in each module. That means in the academic module, you have 2 tasks. In the general module, you have 2 tasks. Now, the general test has letter writing in task 1 and essay writing in task 2. In task 1, the letter could be formal, informal, or semi-formal. So to be on the safe side, you need to master how to write any of these types of letters. And then the academic test has summary writing in task 1 and essay writing in task 2. In task 1, the summary is based on an image, graph, or diagram, okay? And you are expected to analyze those things. In task 1, you are to write 150 words and you are given 20 minutes. In task 2, you are expected to write 250 words in 40 minutes. And this brings us to the speaking module, which is usually a one-to-one interaction between the examiner and the candidate, and it is recorded. Now, speaking has 3 sections. Task 1 is a brief introduction, followed by a short question and answer conversation or interview on familiar topics. Task 2 is an individual long or extended speech, all right? And in this case, the examiner will give you a topic to speak on for about 1 to 2 minutes, and you have a minute to prepare before the recording starts. So the examiner will not interrupt. All that is required is for you to speak confidently and naturally and make sure you express your ideas clearly. Task 3 is a discussion, is a two-way discussion. And of course, the examiner will ask you 5 to 6 questions based on the topic that was given to you in task 2. So make sure you relax and speak as much as you can. Now, this brings us to IELTS result and scores. It is important that you understand how the scoring works in the IELTS exam so that you can appropriately measure your progress. The exam is graded on a scale of 1 to 9. These grades are known as bands. So apart from the overall scores, which you have band 1 to 9, band 1 is the lowest and 9 is the highest. But apart from obtaining a good overall score, you might have also to get some required scores in specific modules because the university you are applying to or the organization may require some scores in certain modules. For example, apart from saying that you must obtain band 7 to 5 overall, a university may specify that you need to obtain at least band 7 in reading and writing, or in speaking and listening, as the case may be, depending on what exactly they want from you. So that's exactly the way it is. But then one question that recurs is, how do you know the score you are to plan for or prepare for? Well, you obtain that from the website of the university you are applying to. If you are applying to any university in UK, if you go to their website and you ask questions, they will give you the requirements. And that's how you obtain the score. If you are traveling to a country for immigration purposes, for work, then you go to the website of that country's immigration and ask for the requirements and you will be given. So that's how to get it. So you start preparing and you have your scoring goal and work towards it. So this is how it has been in today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed the class. We have been looking at the basics of the IELTS test, and I hope you have gotten insight into the basics of the IELTS test. In subsequent lessons, we shall be looking at how these things should be done. I'll be giving you the top tips and the keys that will enable you to answer questions correctly in each of them. Now, this training course is designed to get you so adequately prepared that on the day of the test, you will enter the exam feeling very comfortable and confident because you know exactly what to do. So I look forward to seeing you in the next class. Goodbye for now and remain blessed.